According to a study done by the American College of Sports Medicine, over 300,000 concussions are reportedly diagnosed in the United States each year. However, this number could be almost 7 times larger if all concussions were reported to medical officials. While some people believe that concussions can be simply ignored, they can be one of the most damaging injuries in athletics today. As an avid sports fan, I have researched and become familiar with the potential side effects of concussions. Also, as a 3-sport athlete, I've witnessed the effects of concussions firsthand through injuries to my teammates and fellow competitors. First, I'll give an overview of what can cause a concussion and the groups that are likely to be afflicted by these injuries. Second, I'll provide details on the long-term damages that can occur if concussions are left untreated. Third, I'll give an example of an athlete who suffered lifelong ailments due to his history of concussions. Finally, I'll give my own opinion on what should be done to prevent these injuries and make athletic participation safer. Concussions can be one of the most dangerous injuries in athletics today because they often go unnoticed. The website webmd.com describes a concussion as damage to the blood vessels or nerves in the brain. This damage can be caused by a sudden, quick movement of the brain knocking against the sides of the skull. Adolescents are most likely to sustain a concussion because their heads are disproportionately large compared to their bodies. Athletes participating in contact sports are also at high risk of concussions due to the force at which their bodies and heads are being hit. Depending on the severity of the injury, the effects of concussion can range from headaches and nausea to permanent brain damage. The effects of a non-traumatic concussion include dizziness, headaches, nausea, and confusion. These symptoms can last from a series of minutes to days. However, as concussions become more serious, their side effects become more detrimental and long-lasting. The effects of a serious concussion include memory loss, changes in behavior, and even depression. These symptoms can likely go days without being noticed, making concussions difficult to be diagnosed. In the past, it was often the social norm for athletes to ignore concussions and return to the playing field. Ignoring concussions and their serious side effects can often lead to more serious brain damage and even death. There are many examples of athletes who have suffered permanent brain damage because they ignored concussions and returned to the playing field too soon. Andre Waters, a former professional football player for the Philadelphia Eagles, was often remembered for his playmaking and hard-hitting ability. However, many fans were unaware of his history of concussions because he often did not disclose them and always returned to the playing field. However, after retirement, he had a history of confusion and memory loss, ultimately leading him to commit suicide at age 44 on November 20th, 2006. Test results on Waters' brain determined that his brain had deteriorated to the point that it resembled that of an 85-year-old. Doctors also concluded that his brain had similar characteristics to that of an Alzheimer's patient, explaining his memory loss and depression. Instead of attempting to ignore concussions, players and coaches should follow necessary protocol to ensure that players are safely treated before they return to the playing field. Before an athlete returns to play, they should always be cleared by a medical professional. Treatment should be thorough, ensuring that all concussion-related injuries are cleared. Extended care should be taken with those who have sustained multiple concussions so that long-term brain injury is not sustained. In order to prevent concussions, necessary headgear such as helmets and proper padding such as shoulder pads and other pads should always be worn if necessary. Special rules and regulations should be created limiting blows to the head and neck area so that athletic competition becomes safer. While some people believe that concussions can simply be ignored, they can be one of the most dangerous injuries in athletics today. Concussions can be one of the most dangerous injuries because they often go unnoticed, leaving their dangerous side effects untreated. Depending on the severity of the injury, the effects of concussions can range from a series of headaches or nausea to permanent brain loss and confusion. There are many examples of athletes who have suffered lifelong ailments due to their history of concussions. Instead of attempting to ignore these injuries, players and coaches should follow necessary protocol to ensure that athletes who have sustained concussions are cleared before they are returned to play. Contrary to the social norms set forth previously that to ignore concussions, players and coaches should realize the effects of this dangerous injury and take strides to prevent them from occurring in athletic participation.